This video contains spoilers for Dragons Rising Season 3 Part 1. So, Dragons Rising Season 3 Part 1 is finally out. Yay! I've been so excited for this season, and safe to say, I was not disappointed. I had a lot of fun watching the season. I grabbed my Ryu plush and my Sora minifigure, got cozy, and binged the season, and it was a really great time. I think this season is absolutely fantastic, and I have a lot of thoughts on it, but let's start with my general review. If I had to choose one word to sum up this season, I think I would say complex. And that's because there are a lot of things going on in this season. The season follows many characters through their stories and arcs. We have Sora, Lloyd, Frack, and Ryu's story, then we have Nia, Kai, and Wildfire's story, then we have Zane and Pixel, then we have Aaron and Roz, the Forbidden Five and Thunderfang. There are a lot of different characters that we have to keep up with and a lot of moving parts to the season. I think all of the arcs are done pretty well and end up intersecting later in the season in a way that makes sense, but what I found the most interesting about the amount of arcs is the variety of tone that it brought to the season. The contrast between the storylines this season is immense. While the season has a mostly dark tone, it has a lot of goofier B storylines. To demonstrate what I mean, let's look at the episode The Spectral Lands. The main storyline of this episode is that Aaron has to venture into the Spectral Lands, a new location of the Departed Realm and the Cursed Realm, to retrieve a healing elixir that can stop Roz from dying. Along the way, he runs into Moro, and we get a deeper look into one of Ninjago's most tragic characters, as he explains how the Departed Realm and Cursed Realm work now. It's a pretty heavy storyline, touching on dark concepts such as death. Then we flip to the B storyline, which is perhaps the goofiest of the entire season. In this storyline, Kai, Nia, and Wildfire go to an arcade so that Kai can play Jay's favorite arcade game and try to lure him there as they are having a hard time finding him. In this storyline, Kai is being a bit delusional as he plays the game, trying to break Jay's high score, and Wildfire is having the time of her life being introduced to new video games. The tone of these storylines is so different, it's kind of like Whiplash. It really sounds like it shouldn't work, but for some reason, it does. I think it's because Dragons Rising has just built up these characters to be a little goofy and wacky in order to bring lighthearted energy to the darker stories they're trying to tell. I think it works because the characters are just so well known to us now where we can understand why they would be a little more silly. And I also think it works because the world building is so good that we know there are darker things out there and darker reasons as to why the merge has happened and sent a ripple launching all of these arcs into motion. Somehow they've managed to build a world and characters where the two tones can coexist and still make sense. As I was watching through the season for a second time and making notes, I was wondering why this sharp contrast in tone was suddenly so much more noticeable to me. I came to this conclusion, which could probably be wrong, but is my best explanation at this moment. As Dragons Rising leans into darker arcs that are very serviceable to the older audience, they've probably decided to add more lighthearted storylines that can connect with a younger audience. Because kids still watch Ninjago, and if they wrote an entire episode where Aaron is learning about departed souls and then we cut to a sad Nia as she searches for Jay, I don't think that would be something a kid would enjoy. It can't be all darkness all the time. It won't keep a kid entertained and invested. Even though it kind of sucks that Nia's arc searching for Jay was mostly just an arc of silly side adventures, I understand why they chose to do that. We still got some good emotional moments with her and Kai while searching for Jay. And I'd much rather that arc be sacrificed for silliness than Aaron's. And I'm known for loving goofiness, so I actually really liked most of that stuff. There were also a lot of complex emotions in this season. What I mean is that characters like Aaron and Sora deal with emotions that aren't just black and white. Aaron's emotions are messy and complicated. Sora has to grapple with her guilt over Aaron leaving with Roz and has to make tough choices about whose side she should stick by at the end of the season. There are a lot of decisions that are made that can't be labeled as definitively right or wrong, because they're so nuanced. I think that makes this season even more interesting and thought-provoking. This season also stands in my mind as being one of the darkest seasons of Ninjago ever. I was watching scenes and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, wow, this is so dark. I said in my video about the season 3 trailer that I didn't think Ninjago would go as dark as to show Aaron's parents dead. And they didn't technically, but they showed their graves, which I thought, wow, this is so dark. They did not hold back this season. I cried so much with that scene where Roz shows Aaron the graves. Also, Lloyd got killed on screen. They killed the Green Ninja on screen. That is absolutely nuts. I know he died in the show before, but they didn't show the moment where he actually got crushed by the stuff. We just saw that he was crushed by the stuff. We didn't actually see it happen. But no, they they straight up showed him die this season, and that was crazy. I cried a lot when I watched that too. This season is just overall very dark and different than anything else we've ever seen in this show before, and it's really, really good. As always, the animation was terrific, and I also really loved the sound design. The soundtrack was so good, and any reused soundtrack they used was perfect. I'm looking at you, Moral's theme. The voice acting was also superb. They're always so perfect, but this season especially, I found myself just gasping at how good the voice acting was. Particularly Moral's scene at the very end of the season was incredible. There were multiple times on my second rewatch where I just wrote, the voice acting is on point, because it really was. Also, Devin Mack, who plays Aaron, also plays Thunderfang. I actually was so shook when I read that. Like, oh my gosh, this man is just so good at playing so many different types of characters. I never would have known Thunderfang was him if I didn't look it up. Like, seriously. I actually just looked at my screen like, so good. They're all so good. The differing tones, various arcs, and sheer amount of stories led to an overall complex puzzle of a season that I really enjoyed. Everything was just so well done on the practical side as well, as it always is, and it was just an incredible season in my eyes. But now let's really get into the specifics of what I liked. I really liked the team being split up into different sections for a while. It gave a chance for more interesting character dynamics to be explored while also still advancing the plot. Lloyd, Sora, Frack, and Ryu are a really fun team dynamic. I liked exploring the mini feud between Sora and Frack and seeing them work through it. I like to see Lloyd lead the new ninja along on a mission. I just really like their group dynamic altogether. I also thought it was funny that it was implied that Frack had a crush on Sora. Nia, Wildfire, and Kai were a really fun dynamic too. Nia's emotional arc in contrast with Kai and Wildfire's antics was really entertaining. And of course, Zane and Pixel were absolutely delightful. I almost cried every time they were on screen together. They have always been my favorite ship. It was so great to see them finally together again. I liked how they talked about exploring the merged lands together, and I do hope we get to actually see them do that because that would be so cool. And every fight scene with them was great. They just worked so well together. It was, oh, I love it. I love them. I love them. Zane's character truly felt reinvigorated this season. The dancing with birds scene actually wrecked me. It felt so great to get a reference to early season Zane. It truly made me remember why I love Zane. Zane finally felt like Zane again. He wasn't just spewing statistics everywhere, he was actually talking about other things, like how he explains who the new ninja are to Pixel, which is just such a cute scene. I really enjoyed the Zane-centric episode, The Great Zane Robbery in general. I didn't even mind the fake-out death that much. It still bothered me a little that they always go for that with him, but at least it gave us a really great moment with him and Pixel, which I've been missing so deeply, those moments with them. And we got Chonky Zane. Yippee! Moro was perfect to me. I really thought they did his character justice and didn't just bring him back for nostalgia's sake. His character really felt like a slightly older version of himself who has learned from his mistakes and is trying to rectify them. I loved how he decided to protect others because that's what Master Wu taught him to do, and he wanted to help other souls move on while not moving on himself. I also like how he didn't convince Aaron to go back to the ninja. It was just a case of Aaron and Moro running into each other and Moro explaining his own experience with Master Wu. That could allow Aaron to contemplate over what he said. It allows Aaron's emotions over Master Wu and the ninja to get even more jumbled and cause for some more great angst, which I love. I was really happy that it wasn't just Moro blatantly telling him, don't do this, do that. It was just Moro sharing his own experience with someone. Also, seeing Aaron and Moro fighting together on screen and just generally being on screen together was like having a dream I didn't even know I had come true. Like, we all assumed Moro was in this season to interact with Aaron, but actually seeing it, it was so awesome. I really loved Wildfire and Roby's story. They're such fun characters, and I really think their relationship dynamic is so adorable. When it came to Kerr decaying Roby, that actually broke my heart into a million pieces. The whole storyline of Wildfire dealing with Roby's sickness and having to try and accept that he might not get better was very real and heartbreaking. It's a good way to teach kids about real life things like illnesses and grief. I'm glad Roby got better though, and Hermes too. I was happy with what they did with Rogue. Any scene where he showed up was really cool, and I like that they sent him after Roz, allowing all of the ninja stories to intersect in the back half of the season. I thought that the voice changer was so funny. It was so obvious it was Jay, it just made me laugh anytime he talked with it. I think knowing that Rogue was Jay somehow made the season even better to me. Just knowing it was Jay under that mask during all the fight scenes made everything so much cooler, and when Z-Trix shows Rogue the picture of Roz, it's interesting to note his sort of like side when he sees that she wants him to get Roz, knowing their history. Like, it just makes it so much better to me. I don't know. Like, Jay felt pretty well characterized in general to me, and I like how he ends up at the monastery at the end of the season and reveals the big twist to the other ninja. Hopefully this means Jay will be more heavily integrated into the second half of the season, interacting with the other ninja. Now on to Eren and Sora. I was really pleased with what they did with them for the most part. There are some things I'll talk about with Eren a little later about what I didn't like with his arc, but I really enjoyed it for the most part. When we first see Eren this season, I honestly felt like it was seeing an old friend that you haven't seen in a very long time. I don't know, I've just been speculating about him for so long since season 2 ended that it felt so strange to actually finally see him in a new season of the show. It felt like, I don't know, it just felt like so long since I've seen him and I've just been worrying about this boy. It just felt, I don't know if this makes sense at all. But anyway, I loved how they used the Lloyd plush as a symbol of Eren's old life with the ninja, as a symbol of who he once was, as a symbol of everything he believed in. I liked how Eren was established in his first scene as still being the kind person we knew at the beginning of the series. I love how the little kid says, "You need someone to protect you out there," and gives him the Lloyd plush. It's such a great use of symbolism, saying that line and handing it to him like, it's dangerous out there, he needs his old master, he needs a ninja. I just really love that writing. I loved the first interaction we see between Eren and Roz, establishing the dynamic they have. They really established their relationship as a toxic, emotionally abusive one, honestly. It was sad to see Eren getting treated in such a harsh way, but it is indicative of real life relationships like that. It was also interesting to see how even though Eren tries to seem like he's only going with Roz because he needs the information he has, he also seems to care for him, perhaps because he spent so much time with him, perhaps because that's just the kind of character Eren is. He's a caring and kind person. On the other hand, Roz doesn't seem to care much about Eren except for using him for his plan, which I would really like to know more about this plan and why Roz seems to only specifically need/want Eren to help him with it. Roz is manipulating Eren every step of the way, and Eren doesn't seem to realize it because his emotions have become too foggy. From feeling betrayed by the ninja, to suddenly finding himself caring about Roz as a teacher, to finding out his parents are supposedly dead. It's all a deep manipulation that is messing with this poor kid's mind. Also, I had guessed after episode 5 that Eren's parents actually weren't going to be dead when Roz mentioned that he knows everything Jay knows, so I felt pretty validated when Jay revealed they weren't. I liked how Roz repeatedly got proven wrong this season for only relying on strength and negativity. It was needed, and he deserved it. I also want to add that I really loved Roz's animation. He just looks so lively. I think it's because he doesn't have a standard minifigure head, he has an actual animal-like head, so they can animate it in ways they can't with the regular Lego minifigure head. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks so cool. He had so much emotion to him with that liveliness in his ears and the snarls he had. It was great. Now back to Sora. I thought it was great how they made Sora's arc this season have to do with her blaming herself for Eren leaving. It was very in character for her, and it all came together in a good way. It was really interesting how they built up their friendship reunion again. Sora was obviously working through her insecurities about all of this with Brack, and Eren was still kind of pushing his insecurities about leaving the ninja aside in order to focus on finding his parents. I thought Crashing Together was a really beautifully done episode. I love that we got a flashback to when the merge first happened and that we got to see exactly how Sora and Eren met. It adds a lot of depth to their friendship and really builds the emotional stakes even more as the episode flips back and forth between the flashback and the present moment. Showing how Eren had been looking out for Sora since they first met, and having Sora come back around and look out for Eren in this season was really great. Sora saving Eren during the fight and them apologizing was a great scene. It gives me chills every time. And the scene in the next episode where Sora and Eren talk through it more was really great. I like that there was still a little bit of awkwardness between them over everything that had happened. It felt authentic. I love to see them address their problems head on instead of letting it fester more. And I really like that Eren actually explained his insecurities to Sora, and she explains her own in turn. It was very real, and it showed how to actually talk through your problems in a way, which I really liked. And I think it's a good example for kids in that sense too. And I like how Sora tells him what she really thinks are his greatest strengths. I think that was done really well, and I think it was really great that it was Sora who was the one to tell him, because we've started the show with the two of them together, and it's great to see it all come back around and see how she is helping him now to realize who he really is. I think the reason the end of the season when Sora goes with Aaron and Roz works is because they reinforced how much Aaron means to Sora throughout the season. We got to see more into why it has been hurting her so much that he left. We know that she wants to stick together with Aaron because Aaron once told her that the only way they can get through the tough times is together. I thought that was incredibly well done. We also know that Sora respects Lloyd immensely from different parts of the season, and when she tells Lloyd she's sorry as she leaves to join Aaron and Roz, it really struck me. She knows she has to stick by Aaron's side, but she doesn't want the people she calls her new family to feel betrayed by her. She wants to protect her best friend and help him, but she also doesn't want to let down Lloyd and the other ninja because we know that they've come to be her family. I think she wants to go with Aaron to be by his side and just help him with his own journey, but I think a part of her also wants to protect him from more of Roz's teachings and manipulation. We also know that one of her biggest fears is Roz from the Phantasm Cave scene, so it really speaks volumes to me that she would go with Aaron and Roz. I'm excited to see how this group dynamic works in the second part of the season, and I'm really happy with Sora's arc right now. The theme of Dragons Rising is becoming more apparent as unity. The philosophy of the show is building off of what Master Wu said to Nia, unity is key. The only way they end up winning the fight against Thunderfang is because Aaron unites with the ninja and listens to Sora's words of advice. He is able to use his object spinjitzu when he thinks about the people he loves, which include the ninja. I also like that this theme of unity was a key principle of Aaron's life before he even met the ninja, telling Sora when he met her that the only way we get through this is together. I also thought it was interesting when Thunderfang was talking about some of the source dragons, he said that strength was self-obsessed, because that really shows this disconnect with Aaron and Roz. Roz only really cares about himself, but Aaron, he cares about others, he cares about Sora, he cares about Lloyd, he cares about others, he wants to be a friend, he's always talking about being together and unity, and that is something that runs deep in this show's blood. It's all connected in a very clever way. I also think it's cool to note that the original name of the series was United, so they've always had this key theme in mind, and now we're just really starting to see it even more clearly. But now let's get into the stuff that I didn't really like. There is one part about Aaron's arc that I found pretty confusing, and that was Aaron's stance on the ninja. At the end of season 2, Aaron states that the ninja failed him. I just thought it was odd that in the early parts of season 3, he seems to have mostly forgiven the ninja. Like, when did that happen? He says to Roz that they made mistakes, but they're still heroes. He just doesn't want to face them now because of how everyone is starting to see him as a villain. Every time the ninja are brought up, Aaron seems to be not too angry at the mention of them. When he has flashbacks before doing his Shatter Spin Spinjitzu, he only really thinks about Master Wu and what he did. He doesn't really think about Sora or Lloyd. I don't mind that he is only mad at Master Wu here. I just wish we could have seen some of the thought process that led Aaron to this point, because he was still really mad at Sora before he left. I understand why he's forgiven Lloyd, because we see in this season that Aaron wants to stop to help the algae farmers, but Roz tells him not to, and I think that signals that Aaron understands the duty of a ninja is to help everyone along the way. So I think that's why he's forgiven Lloyd for not helping him find his parents immediately. I just find it a little confusing how in the back half of the season, Aaron seems to be a bit annoyed about working with the ninja again. I get that he's probably still preoccupied with siding with Roz and wanting to find his parents, but he seemed pretty for the ninja in most of the season, even defending them to Roz, so I just wish they could have made it a bit clearer what he really thought, the ninja in particular, not just Master Wu. I also was pretty disappointed in the fate of the Forbidden Five this season. They straight up died. I don't know if they're actually gone for sure, but I think that would be really unfortunate because they were hyped up so much. We spent 20 episodes waiting for all 5 of them to get released, and they do, and then they die 9 episodes into their first season with all of them. What? They were really cool for what we got to see, but I really wanted to see them do so much more. And I still want that. They have so much potential as villains. I hope I'm wrong and maybe they're not actually gone forever because I feel like they can be used for so much more. I also want to know more about Kerr, please and thank you. Another thing that annoyed me about this season was the excessive lore dumps. This was the worst in the episode Fallen Wishes. Characters would just be repeating the same lore drops we've already heard earlier in the season.
Bruh.
Nia would give a lore drop and then Sora would give the same lore drop, and it just got so annoying to hear the same stuff that we already know over and over again. But I think I also deciphered why this seems to be a problem in Dragon's Rising, but it might not be the reason why. Maybe it's just clunky writing, but I hope this is the right reason why. I think it's because there is no previously on tacked on at the beginning of the episodes. And the sequel show has been so full of new lore and important information you need to know as the season progresses. If you hop into an episode weeks after watching the other ones, you might have forgotten all the backstory and will be confused, so they have to repeat it. I think if they added a previously on segment at the beginning of the episode, it would really help. It also probably feels more annoying when you binge the season straight through, so if the episodes were released weekly, it would probably be less annoying. Maybe it's just my fault for binging it. But that's pretty much everything that I didn't like or found confusing. Not much, I'm glad. My favorite episode this season was The Shadow Dragon. It had so many great scenes that I feel are going to become iconic in Ninjago. Aaron using object spinjitzu to save the day, Rogue using its elemental power, Thunderfang taking Lloyd's soul, Sora leaving with Aaron and Roz, the reveal of the big twist at the end, Ghost Thunderfang killing Moro. So many great scenes. And the episode hits all the right jokes and all the right emotional beats and has just the right amount of angst. And I think it's the strongest episode of the bunch. My least favorite episode, as you could probably guess, has to go to Fallen Wishes. It's not a totally bad episode, I just felt pretty bored watching it. It just felt like a rehash of lore dumps, and while the action was cool, I just didn't find myself too interested in what was going on. I thought it would be fun to compile all of the references in this season to stuff from the original series. This does not include realms or characters that are prominently featured or any old characters that we've seen before in Dragon's Rising. So let me know if I missed any, and here's the list. Cole mentions the Explorers Club. Cole references his history as a ghost and presumably his fight with Sensei Yang. Vengestone shows up. The Lloyd plush is wearing his ZX suit. Mention of Oni. Ed and Edna mention, and reference to Zane dancing with birds.
I faced them! You need someone to protect you out there.
I am a bit surprised to hear you so emotional.
It has been a long time for me.
Photobomb!
We have a great healthcare plan.
Did you check the fatherboard?
Is this guy bugs? Is this guy bugs? I thought that cur lady unstanked my zoot for good.
With the crackle?
Thanks for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of the season in the comments, and subscribe if you want, because I'll be making more videos about this part of the season because I somehow still have more to say. Bye!